Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with another episode of Comic Books Are Better, which usually I tackle any other decade to prove that comic books were better then than they are now. This time around, it's the end of the decade. Let's see, are there actually 10 series, 10 comic books, 10 one-shots, 10 whatever, that made this decade great? Let's get this countdown started and see if you agree. Number 10. Injustice Gods Among Us. I love both versions of it. I love every year of it. Granted, there were some I had to go, okay, wait a second. No, you're not pushing an entire planet into the sun. It's just, still, I think, I just love this series. It was amazing. Now, this told, basically, the first one anyway, told the story, what happened between the time Joker got killed by Superman to the point where the video game started. And if you haven't played the game, you should. It's awesome. And then we just got to watch one by one as everybody who needed to be removed for Superman to come to power was removed for Superman to come to power. I was on the edge of my seat through most of it, even though I knew the outcome, because of the video game. And that's pretty powerful. When a book can do that, that's saying a lot. Good stuff. Number 9. Shirtless Bear Fighter, which, by the way, I highly recommend. This is such a lot of fun. Now, this is a very M-rated comic book to the point where they actually have nude covers. Granted, the naughty bits are cut out, but still, there's nude covers. Anyway, this is over the top. It's about a guy who's raised by bears, and at some point, he gets betrayed by them. And there is actually a bear criminal syndicate that he goes into the city to stop. It's basically, hello, there's a bear, let me go punch him in the face, and then that's it. I mean, that's the story. He's trying to find out who's manipulating him and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor and read Shirtless Bear Fighter. Number 8. Chip Zdarsky on Spider-Man. Now, I'm going to focus on Spectacular Spider-Man, but dude, it didn't start off this way. I remember when it first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, this is bad. This is really bad. And then this happened. And all of a sudden, it's a complete turnaround. I mean, it was a massive turnaround to the point where it went from, oh, it's kind of a joke to, my gosh, when's the next Chip Zdarsky Spider-Man book coming out? It was just something else. I loved this episode. I loved this issue. I loved, from here on in, pretty much everything he did with Spider-Man was just exciting. It was fun. It was fresh again while continuing the story. You didn't have to make Spider-Man look like an ass the way Dan Slott did in order to make things fresh. Chip Zdarsky nailed it, man. And I've got to say, more than anyone else, I think he captured who Spider-Man really was in this decade. Frankly, I see him as the premier Spider-Man writer at this moment. Number 7. Robert Venditti's run on Hawkman. Holy Toledo. This is going. This is ongoing, so you can pick up a book now and just enjoy the hell out of it. But as much as you don't need to, I would recommend you get the first 2 trade paperbacks. Holy crap. Hawkman has had one of the most contrived and most messed up origin stories of all time, being 3 or 4 different things during his run in DC Comics. Venditti managed to just get everything, put it together, and have it make sense. And it's exciting, and it's fun. And damn, some of the covers, some of the art is so amazing. Oh, dude, this is one of those things where Hawkman is usually one of those characters that get ignored, but I think that is a detriment. You are doing yourself a disservice by not reading Venditti's Hawkman. Number 6. Middle West by Scotty Young and Jorge Corona is absolutely one of the reasons independent comic books exist. Yeah, granted, DC Comics, Marvel Comics have their oddball books, but this is one of those independents that I think are served by being an independent comic book. This is about a kid who comes from an abusive home, and he gets caught up in this strange land where he's trying to cross it, and in order he's going to fix his family. I have a feeling we're going to get an ending that's very much like Wizard of Oz, but tell you the truth, that is not the purpose. it's not the destination, but the journey, and what an amazing journey this book will take you on. It is so much fun, and it's a hell of a lot deeper than what some of the images coming across the screen here would suggest. But once again, I'm going to say, if you're not reading this, you're only hurting yourself. It's an amazing book. Drop some of the trash you're buying. Pick this one up. Number 5. Warren Ellis on Moon Knight. Man, this is just like Hawkman, where you have a guy, he's got dissociative personality disorder, and that came from the fact that the first time Moon Knight's around, he's one thing. The second time, he's another. So they just figured, hey, instead of trying to do what they are doing with Hawkman, let's just say he's got different personalities. And Warren Ellis, who is one of the writers you could basically bank on, he ran with it, and he told a great tale. Some of it, a lot of it, during the end of his run took place in Moon Knight's own head. This is a psychological superhero story, if ever there was one. I loved what they did with Moon Knight so much, I still followed the character blindly for a little bit until Max Bemis kind of drove it into a freaking cliff. But this right here is damn near comic book perfection. And that's an amazing thing to say about a comic book in the 2010s. Number 4, Charles Soule on Daredevil. Holy Toledo, what a great book. Now, I heard that Charles Soule used to be a lawyer, and that's, I think, is why Matt Murdock is so strong in this book. But it also, just this entire thing tells you exactly how hard it would be to be a vigilante, and it's how hard it would be to be Daredevil in this universe. And most of it has him dealing with the Kingpin. The best of Charles Soule's run, in my opinion, was Mayor Fisk, that particular run on it. So if you just want to pick up one book to see if what I'm saying right here is true, get the Mayor Fisk trade paperback. Check that out. It's such an amazing run, and it just tells us all about the struggle that these two have had ever since Frank Miller made Kingpin a major villain of Daredevil. Holy Toledo! I've liked pretty much everything Charles Soule has done, and Daredevil is no exception. To me, Daredevil's the pinnacle of that pile of great works from Charles Soule. Number 3, Archie 1941 is one of the best comic book stories I've ever read. Hands down. I'm saying that this is Brian Augustine and Mark Waid. They nail the writing. This is a graphic novel in trade paperback form as well. It's drawn by Peter Krause. This is what if they were actually teenagers in 1941. That's when Archie first appeared, was 1941. And of course, they have to deal with the war. They have to deal with what they're going to do. Do they enlist? Do they not enlist? World War II is such a big thing there. You even have people in Riverdale who don't agree with it because of reasons. You know, of course, in World War II wasn't 100%. Not everybody agreed with it. It is such a deep book, far deeper than anything you'll usually find by Archie. I was amazed at how good this book was. I mean, I like the Archie comic books, and I think Mark Waid and Brian Augustine do a good job. But this one will hit you in the feels, man. This will break your heart in some places, but in a good way, the kind of way where you're not sad that you spent the money to read it. Number 2, Peter J. Tomasi on Super Sons. You know what? More so than his Superman run, which I thought was amazing, the one thing that everybody says was the worst thing we lost when Brian Michael Bendis came to DC was Peter J. Tomasi on Super Sons. I have to agree that it was an amazing loss. This is such a fun series. This one and The Adventures of Super Sons is an amazing series. You should check this out. This is such a great look at this dynamic duo, if you don't mind me saying that there. One thing I just amazed at is I didn't like Damian Wayne until this. After I read this series, I actually started liking Damian Wayne as a character. That's what Peter J. Tomasi was able to do with the run, having them have their own adventures, dealing with the fact that they are young kids. They actually dealt with the fact they were young kids. That's hardly ever done. Usually kids are written as small adults. Even Damian, who sometimes goes overboard, is written like a kid who thinks he knows more than he actually does. This book is just flat out amazing. And the number one reason comic books are better in 2010s is Dan Abnett's run on Aquaman, and if you know me, you know there was going to be no other number one. That's it. This is the book that I shilled for more since I started this whole YouTube thing than any other. This was perfection. Now, a lot of people bring up Jeff Johns' run. Can't argue it was really good, but I think that this really captured who Aquaman should be and who Aquaman really was. I love the variant covers, by the way. Usually I don't bring up covers, but they're amazing. The storyline was awesome. I liked the bit with Black Manta at the beginning. I thought, wow, okay, that's like 12 issues about this guy, but it's so amazing, so freaking wonderful. For a while, he was Atlantis Batman, not Black Manta, but Aquaman. This is such a great story, and it's so engulfed in the Atlantis lore. You're going to learn so much about the character just reading these 40-something issues. And if you value your time as a comic book reader, check this run out. I don't think you're going to be sorry for it. And those are my reasons why 2010s are better than 2010, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, there you go, gang. What would you put on this list? And granted, let me tell you, now that I've hit the end of the run there, I'm going to just circle right back and let's start again. Because there's a lot more books. There's a lot more books that would go on this one, to tell you the truth. So let me know what you think should be on a list like this. And don't forget, of course, click like, share, subscribe. You've heard it all before. Don't forget to, do the whole notification thing. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi. Drop $1 in the till. Help me keep the lights on and help me keep making videos for you. Thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.